Hi.
Hola.
Hi, hier ist Mr. Döse.
This is Michael Bradley.
Hey, I'm Memphis.
Hey.
Hola. Hello.
I'm here with soccer.com.
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 And I'm talking with my friends soccer.com.
See you soon.
Hey guys, Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my first impressions plus on-feet video of the brand new Puma evoSPEED Fresh. Now this is a brand new high-end evoSPEED model that goes along with the evoSPEED 1.5, the SL2, the SL2 in leather, as well as the SLS2. It obviously does have the same bottom, which makes the shoe very, very light, but the upper is entirely different from all those other models, being that it is mesh-based, which is kind of unusual. It's also the cheapest of all the current high-end evoSPEED models, with a retail price below $200 at $180 US, which isn't cheap, but it isn't overly expensive for a high-end model either. With that being said, there definitely are some quirks to this particular shoe that we're going to talk about in today's video. We're going to take a look at the weight, talk tech specs, performance features, as well as how they fit and feel on feet. So if you are interested in learning more about the evoSPEED Fresh, stick around and watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can check out the review page on my website. There'll be a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link in the description, and on that page you will find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $180 retail. So again, if you're interested in a pair, click that pop-up or the first link in the description. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, I want to take a look at the weight of the evoSPEED Fresh, as well as talk about durability in general. I know that's not something I normally cover in my reviews, just because durability is something that's very difficult to predict with any shoe. And if you guys want to watch a video where I talk specifically on this topic, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen. You can go ahead and check it out. But in the case of the evoSPEED Fresh, because it is very much based off of the evoSPEED 2 SL, which infamously bears this particular sticker, letting you know that the shoe is not really made for practice. It's a game shoe and it's expected to last approximately 10 uses, which is pretty accurate. While the evoSPEED Fresh does not come with that same warning label, I think you can expect similar durability out of the shoe. This is not a pair of shoes that I would buy for kind of the expectations that they're going to last you for multiple seasons. If you get a full season out of one pair of these, that would be very, very good. So for the sake of the video, we're going to weigh both of these shoes for you today in real time, because they are quite similar in terms of construction, and because of that, the weight of the shoe. So I have the evoSPEED 2 SL here and the evoSPEED Fresh right here. They're both brand new condition and both the exact same size, 9.5 US. Going to turn the scale on here in real time just so you can see that there is no tricks here. So I'll start off with the evoSPEED 2 SL, throw them on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at an extremely lightweight 3.7 ounces, the equivalent of 105 grams, which, like I said, is extremely lightweight. The experience of wearing these is pretty incredible. So we'll change the scale back to ounces, pull these off, and we'll throw on the evoSPEED Fresh, and you can see that they weigh in at 4.3 ounces, the equivalent of 121 grams. So you're talking about a weight difference of about 0.6 ounces, or what, 16 grams. That's pretty minimal, if I'm completely honest with you guys. You're not going to notice a major weight difference between these two shoes. A little bit in hand, but on feet, it's practically impossible to tell a difference. They're extremely lightweight, very, very thin. And like I said, the experience of wearing either of these two shoes is pretty incredible. It's essentially like not wearing shoes at all, having studs strapped directly to the bottom of your foot. But again, from a durability standpoint, because the shoe is so thin, because the shoe is so light, you can't really expect too much out of them. So while these are cheaper than the evoSPEED 2 SLs at $180, just keep in mind that if you do spend the money on a pair of evoSPEED Fresh shoes, while it doesn't have a warning label, don't expect them to last a very long time. When it comes to performance, the evoSPEED Fresh is a pretty interesting shoe in terms of what it has on offer. Now with the evoSPEED 2 SL, the shoe that I just showed you guys, it features a textile-based upper with kind of plastic polyurethane layers to fill in that textile material. With the evoSPEED Fresh, it's not a textile upper, it's a mesh upper with some fused polyurethane layers in between. So if anything, I would say this is even less structured than what you're gonna find on the evoSPEED 2 SL, which is saying a lot because there's not a lot of structure to the evoSPEED 2 SL at all. So the upper, as you can see, it's mesh based, and it's a lot of exposed mesh as well, which means because it's only a single layer of mesh, there's going to be a breathability aspect to this shoe that's kind of unusual for a pair of soccer cleats. All this mesh right here, all the mesh in between, you can see where it's a little bit of a different shade. It doesn't have that kind of foggy look. That's all exposed mesh. So again, you get that breathability aspect to the upper itself. It also means that in terms of water resistance, there's not going to be a lot of that. If you play in the rain or you play in any kind of wet weather, your feet are going to get wet. Although that's kind of the case with any shoe. I think the idea for this is to have it for really, really hot weather, just to have that little kind of aspect of breathability. And really, in terms of what is out there right now, there really isn't anything else that compares to this. This is going to be the coolest pair of shoes to wear on a hot day. Although if you're playing on artificial grass or turf that's outdoors, strongly wouldn't recommend wearing these. They're not made for use on artificial playing surfaces at all. If anything, these are made for really nice natural grass fields that are well kept and are not necessarily soft, but on the softer side of things. That's going to be the best in terms of comfort, performance, as well as durability. The playing surface, when you make a shoe this light, definitely does play a factor when it comes to how long it's going to last. So again, if you don't play on really nice natural grass fields, I think any of these evoSPEED models probably aren't the best option. But nonetheless, the upper is technically called, deceivingly, support mesh. So you can see the branding right here. And it's funny because it's called support mesh, but there's very, very little support and just general structure to this material at all. It's completely soft. It's basically just a thin layer of mesh that you can crush down into nothing. The reasoning for the weight difference between this shoe and the evoSPEED 2 SL, for that matter, or really, is just the insole. This has a more significant insole than the SL variation, which you can see it does have a mesh liner on top, then has a little bit of perforations through it. It's a decent insole given how light the shoe is, but again, they kept things pretty minimal. If it had the regular insole or the super light insole from the evoSPEED 2 SL, they'd be almost the exact same weight. So again, from a weight and durability standpoint, there just isn't a lot going on here. Touch on the ball, super, super thin mesh. It's pretty much like playing barefoot completely. If you get stepped on, it's going to hurt. I think that's pretty obvious. And there is potential for, I guess, this upper to snag as well. Although if the upper snags and tears, it's very likely that your foot is also broken. So I guess that's not too big of a concern. The laces run through the middle. As you can see, the tongue is pretty much entirely made from mesh as well, with a little bit of that fuse kind of supporting certain aspects of it. The inside heel liner is a nice smooth synthetic leather with a decent amount of padding. It's kind of cut like a standard low cut shoe, which is pretty nice. The fit and general comfort level is pretty good. You guys got to look at the insole. And then of course it does have the SL bottom with the integrated heel counter, which I think looks really good. It feels really good. And the stud pattern itself is fantastic, very, very aggressive in terms of the traction that it provides. But again, it's really made for use on nicer fields where the studs have the ability to kind of dig in a little bit. The sole plate is also extremely thin. It's a combination of Pebax and nylon. So Pebax for the majority of the sole plate, mainly in the forefoot, and then nylon for the actual studs and the speed track system. So it's super, super thin. You will feel stud pressure again if you are on harder surfaces, so not recommended for harder surfaces at all. And then the speed track system does have some decent stiffness and rigidity through the midfoot, but the shoe's super flexible, really natural. There's nothing to break in just because the sole plate is so flexible, and the upper is just straight up mesh, so there's nothing really to break in. It's not going to get softer or anything like that. They're eventually just going to be able to wear them until they break. And that's about it. That's kind of what these evoSPEED models are all about. You have the 3-stud system in the heel, which is there mainly for weight reasons, just to make the shoe as light as possible, but it doesn't feel weird. It looks kind of cool actually. And again, not something you really notice when you're playing in the shoe. For me, these are all about the experience. And if you can justify paying close to $200 for a really cool, super lightweight, barefoot kind of playing experience, then this is definitely worth a go. The other thing that's worth mentioning is the general structure to the upper and the responsiveness that it provides. There's not a lot of structure here, so when you do play in these shoes, you'll find that the upper stretches, it moves around, and like I said, your foot is not necessarily locked on the base of the shoe itself. There's a lot of rollover, there's a lot of movement, but because the shoe is so light, it's something that you can almost forgive when it comes to the design, because you don't really feel like you're moving much mass with your feet. you feel weightless, you feel really, really light, and that's because the shoes are pretty much half the weight of almost anything else out there. So again, not the most responsive thing in the world, but that's not necessarily something that I think is all that bad, just given that the shoe is so much lighter than pretty much anything else. As far as the aesthetics and the colorway go, I think the shoe looks really, really cool. I mean, if you're familiar with the evoSPEED line, this looks like almost all the other evoSPEED models. You have the outline of the form stripe here on the lateral side, but pretty much no branding on the medial side, aside from this little kind of Puma logo here on the back of the heel. And then of course it has this kind of fade look to it. So the bottom part is what they call red blast, and it fades into black. And the black kind of looks a little bit navy blue in my opinion. I'm not sure if that's going to come through on camera, but nonetheless the combination is not bad at all. Black laces obviously, and then of course you do have a little bit of design here in the actual fused material, which is kind of cool. And then you have a little bit more of that red in the heel liner, as well as the actual sole plate itself, which is quite a bit brighter than the rest of the upper. It almost looks more pink than red to me, but nonetheless, it's a pretty interesting looking shoe. I don't mind how they look at all, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you like how these look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on-feet portion of the video so we can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit, and of course what the sizing is like. All right, so here is a look at the evoSPEED Fresh on feet. On my left foot I have the stock black laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot I have a pair of white reflective SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. You find a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description that'll take you directly there. So if you're interested in the pair, be sure to go ahead and check it out. Now, as far as how these things fit and feel on feet, they're very, very comfortable shoes considering the fact that they weigh pretty much nothing. The upper is pretty much just straight up mesh in terms of what you feel on the inside of the shoe and what you can actually see on the outside of the shoe. It really is just a single layer of fairly thin mesh. So it's super soft, super flexible, kind of feels like you're wearing a pair of socks. The sole plate, super flexible as well, given that it is so thin. And the shoe is just quite comfortable. It's like wearing a pair of socks with some studs attached to the bottom. Again, in terms of durability, you can't expect too much out of them, but the way they feel, the experience of actually wearing something like this, I'm not a fan of really light, really thin shoes, but wearing something like this is just very enjoyable in my opinion. And again, if you can afford the luxury of buying a pair of $200 shoes and not really worrying about them lasting too long, I think these are definitely worth a try just to see what it's like, because it is, like I said, a very, very cool experience. In terms of fit, the shoe does have a snug fit overall, but the material is not the most structured, so it has a good kind of forgiveness to the actual fit of the shoe in general, meaning that it's not really going to squeeze your foot. Even if you pull the laces really, really tight, it's just not a structured enough material. So width-wise, these are going to fit just about anybody. And again, there's really nothing to break in here just because the materials are so thin and they are so soft. As far as the fit is concerned, just like the other evoSPEED models, these run about a half size small. So instead of wearing my usual size 9 US, I bumped it up to a 9.5, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going a half size up in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the Puma evoSPEED Fresh. If you guys are interested in more info or you're interested in a pair for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. That'll be the very first link down below in the description, or you can click the little eye on screen. And of course, on that page, you will find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $180 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, first link down below, little eye on screen, go ahead and check it out. If you have any questions at all regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, thanks for watching.